We talk every day, but what are we? The confusing stage where you act like a couple but no one says it out loud. Let's talk about that stage. You text every day, you send good morning and good night messages. You know what they ate for lunch, you know when they're stressed, you know their childhood stories. You flirt, you check in, you care, but no one has said it. No label, no definition, no clarity. So now you're stuck in the most emotionally exhausting place in modern dating, the what are we stage. And here's the real problem. It's not the lack of a label, it's the lack of security. The brain hates uncertainty. Human beings are wired to seek predictability. Neuroscience shows that uncertainty activates the brain's threat system. When outcomes are unclear, cortisol, the stress hormone, increases. Your body doesn't like ambiguity when attachment is involved. Attachment theory, pioneered by John Bowlby, explains that emotional bonds are tied to our survival instincts. When connection feels unstable, the brain reads it as potential loss. So when you're in this undefined space, your mind starts asking, do they really like me? Are they talking to someone else? Am I the only one acting serious? You're not dramatic. Your nervous system is trying to protect you. Why this stage feels so intense? There's a reason this phase feels addictive. Psychologists call it intermittent reinforcement, the same pattern that makes slot machines addictive. When affection is consistent some days and distant on others, your brain releases dopamine unpredictably. That unpredictability keeps you hooked. Research by Helen Fisher shows that early romantic attraction activates the brain's reward system similarly to addictive substances. But here's the catch. Reward without security creates obsession, not peace. So you think, I can't stop thinking about them. This must be love. But sometimes it's just uncertainty keeping your brain alert. Acting like a couple without commitment. You go on dates, you talk about the future casually. You've met some friends, maybe even family. But when someone asks, are you together? You pause. And that pause tells you everything. The philosopher Erich Fromm wrote in The Art of Loving that love is an act of will. It is a decision, not just a feeling. Modern dating often wants the benefits of intimacy without the responsibility of decision. Emotional closeness, physical closeness, daily communication, but no declaration. And that imbalance creates emotional instability. Why no one says it out loud? Let's be honest, sometimes both people feel it, but fear naming it. Why? Because naming something makes it real. And if it's real, it can be lost. The philosopher Alain de Botton argues that we are terrified not of love itself, but of the vulnerability love demands. When you define the relationship, you risk rejection. Many people choose ambiguity. Ambiguity feels safer, but it costs more emotionally in the long run. The attachment style factor. This stage hits differently depending on your attachment style. If you lean anxious, you crave reassurance. You want clarity. You want security. If you lean avoidant, you enjoy closeness, but fear labels. You like the connection without the pressure. Researcher Mary Ainsworth showed that secure attachment creates calm exploration. But insecure attachment, anxious or avoidant, creates push and pull dynamics. That undefined stage, it's often an anxious avoidant dance. One person wants definition, the other wants freedom, and neither says it directly. The illusion of going with the flow. You've heard it before. Let's just go with the flow. Why do we need a label? We're good the way we are. It sounds mature. It sounds relaxed. But here's the real question. Is the flow mutual, or is one person silently hoping it turns into something more? If only one of you is secretly planning a future, that's not flow. That's imbalance. As Bell Hooks reminds us, love requires care, commitment, knowledge, responsibility, and trust. Commitment cannot exist in total ambiguity. Trust struggles to grow where intentions are unclear. Emotional investment without definition. Here's the psychological danger. When you talk every day, your brain bonds. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, increases with repeated interaction. Even texting releases small doses of connection chemicals, so you become attached. But without clarity, attachment feels fragile. You start monitoring behavior. Why did they reply late? Why are they less affectionate today? Why didn't they call like usual? You're not crazy. You're emotionally invested without a contract of security, and your brain hates unsecured investments. The fear beneath the question. The real reason people hesitate to ask, "What are we?" isn't confusion, it's fear. Fear of hearing "I'm not ready," hearing "I don't want anything serious," hearing "I thought we were just having fun." So instead of risking clarity, you tolerate uncertainty. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Clarity doesn't ruin connections, it reveals them. If asking the question destroys the bond was already unstable. Healthy love is not vague. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote that peace comes from aligning actions with values. If you value commitment but accept vagueness, you create inner conflict. And inner conflict feels like anxiety. Secure love does not fear labels, it embraces alignment. The right person does not panic when you ask for clarity. They welcome it, because clarity protects both of you. Why this stage feels romantic? Let's acknowledge something. The undefined stage can feel magical. There's tension, there's anticipation, there's excitement. But excitement without foundation doesn't last. Long-term relationship research by John Gottman shows that stable couples build their bond on trust and mutual understanding, not mystery. Mystery may ignite attraction, clarity sustains it. When you know your worth, something shifts when you truly value yourself. You stop being afraid of asking, you stop accepting half answers. You don't pressure, but you don't shrink either. You say calmly, "I enjoy what we have. I just want to understand where we're heading." And if the answer is unclear, you don't beg for certainty. You observe the response. Because someone who wants you will not be confused about you for long. The question isn't desperate. Modern dating culture sometimes shames clarity. Asking "What are we?" is labeled needy. But let's reframe it. It's not desperation. It's emotional intelligence. It's alignment. It's maturity. As Khalil Gibran wrote about love, it should not bind your souls in fear, but stand in clarity and freedom. Freedom includes the freedom to define. The truth most people avoid. If you've been talking every day for months and nothing is defined, one of three things is happening. They are unsure about you. They enjoy the benefits without responsibility. They assume you're okay with ambiguity. None of those are solved by silence. They are solved by conversation. And conversation is not confrontation. It's communication. Final reflection. If you act like a couple but no one says it, ask yourself, are you okay living in uncertainty? Or do you deserve clarity? The right person will not make you feel foolish for wanting definition. They will either rise to the moment or reveal that they were never standing fully there. And either outcome is a gift, because clarity, even when painful, is kinder than prolonged confusion. So if you're in that stage right now, know this: you're not asking for too much. You're asking for emotional safety. And love that fears definition is not yet ready for devotion. You deserve a connection where "What are we?" has an answer that feels steady, not silent.